All right, welcome everybody to the latest Live Motocross podcast. As I'm joined again by former star racer Jackson Richardson, who keeps bringing the heat with his banter on social media as we chat all things AMA Supercross from Pittsburgh and look ahead to Denver and just have a general moto chat too. But before we do that, we'd obviously firstly thank everyone for listening and supporting the site and these podcasts. We really appreciate it. We'd also like to thank our partners in Fly Racing, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkerland for all their incredible support, as without them, none would be possible. All right, firstly, welcome, Jats. How's life? And thanks for joining us in the busy schedule, mate. And obviously, before we start, massive condolences to the family and friends of Joel Evans following his tragic passing at the Pro-Amex round in Gilman last weekend. Obviously, the entire motocross community, across the world in Australia is mourning the loss of a real legend. So obviously our thoughts are with all his friends, family and everyone affected by the loss. Obviously the GoFundMe has been set up for his fiance and baby on the way. So go check that out and support it if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. But yeah, a sad note to start this one, mate. But yeah, you obviously raced against him and knew him pretty well. So real tragedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was. This one really hit close to home. Yeah, because I mean, like knowing Joel for a few years, I grew up racing with him. We came up through the ranks together, and he was always just like the nicest dude, just a solid guy, and like one of the real like core moto guys you could like ever be around. And it's super devastating to see that happened on the weekend. So yeah, no, it's a big downer. It's bad for the series, and you've got you feel for his family, and then he's also got a baby on the way as well, so that just stings even more. So yeah, it's just devastating all around. So yeah, it's gonna take a bit to get past this one, I reckon. He was such a he was such he was he was a big figure in the sport of Aussie motocross, with his YouTubing stuff. He was getting a roll on with that, and his YouTube series just really showed the dude's passion for the sport and how much he loved it. I mean, the guy quit his job to go race and live his dream. And yeah, I mean, that just says a lot about the dude. So yeah, I mean, it's going to take a bit to get past this one, but yeah, massive condolences to his family. I hope his family is doing their best to get through this, but yeah, it's just tough, man. It's hard to find the words for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, well said, mate. It's absolutely brutal. And yeah, we wish his family all the best in what's a very tough road ahead, obviously. But I guess we'll talk back to the Supercross, mate. Doesn't really feel right doing, podcasts about racing and stuff with what's happened, but the show sort of is going to go on. But yeah, mate, obviously Pittsburgh on the weekend, there was another really interesting round of action. Obviously back in that area for the first time in a long time. So the stadium was cool, the fans, the atmosphere and the vibes were really excellent from all reports. Yeah, the turnout was great. So they've had a few rounds in that part of the country. And yeah, this one was definitely the best one. A lot of people wanted to go to this one. So your thoughts on it all, mate? It looked like an excellent round and it certainly delivered, didn't it?
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, the track actually, there was threats of rain throughout the weekend, and we didn't know oh shoot, this we could have another mutter here. But yeah, the Dirtworks crew put in a lot of work like they always do. It's like I said, I'm usually never worried about an AMA Supercross being a complete mutter until the track's uncovered and the heavens open up. They take all the precautions they can to make sure the track's raceable, even if that means pushing the practice schedule back, which it sucks for the riders a bit. You don't get as much track time, but at the end of the day, you'd rather have a raceable track rather than a slot fest. So yeah, they did a hell of a job, and I really like that track design this weekend. There was a lot of options. The whoops got gnarly, but yeah, even the split section, that was a pretty gnarly section there. With the way it all shaped out, and there was dudes slingshotting off the outside and making passes. Yeah, it was awesome. And then yeah, it made for good racing. And we had both classes, the main events went down to the wire. So yeah, it was a good weekend all around, and the Pittsburgh crowd showed up. It looked electric.
Yeah, it was good, mate. Obviously, some of those riders, locals or not, had some really cool bike plastics and gear and jerseys and all that kind of stuff, really leaning into the theme there. So pretty awesome, mate. But yeah, obviously to double down on the track, the whoops had that interesting construction where they were quite far apart just to throw another spanner in the works. And there was a lot of cool sections there. Pretty hard to pass, but there was a few places you could make a difference, which was a nice change. Because last week we spoke about it was a bit more peaky, a lot more sort of strange construction. Just wasn't quite what we're used to seeing. But they got to race all these things, different challenges. You've been there, seen it, there, done it, mate, and it's sort of always throwing up something different. And the riders like a challenge too, mate. So nice to keep them on their toes again. And this one did that, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the way they designed this track was like awesome. It flowed a lot better than the track that they race in East Rutherford. Like they had big rhythms, but like they were I like the way they made that track. There was the on off section that like I like when they put those ones in. And then yeah, that first rhythm out of the first corner, that was a gnarly one. And we've seen it like claim a few guys throughout the day. Like with like it was like a little like you had to bunny hop over and then triple and like and they're tough too because you're going off we call them a backwards ski jump. It's like those bit like when they got to land down a big one and it's got a bit more of a tapered landing, but the backside of it's pretty steep. Yeah, those ones get tricky, and some guys like shorted them a couple of times because they couldn't get enough pop off it. But like it just showed that you had to be precise, and it was hard too because like the hardest part when they cover the track and take the tarps off, the water there's still some water in between the jumps. So it's hard too. So you got a hard packed up ramp, but then you're landing and you got ruts and G outs in between all these jumps. So it's just you land in between it, kind of just hoping for the best. So but then again, I like you couldn't ask for much more. I thought the dirt was awesome there. The dirt they used was really good and it formed up well. And like, yeah, the whoops were very gnarly. They had these ones like pretty spaced out, and like they were big ones too. And I forget who I heard. It might have been Dino or something. He on his vlog, and he said, "Yeah, like these whoops are massive." And yeah, when Dean Wilson is saying that they're a big set of whoops, like they definitely got some size to them. So yeah, no, it was a brutal track, but it made for good racing too. And like like I said, the two main events were absolute heaters. So yeah, good weekend all round if you're a moto fan.
Yeah, sure was, mate. It was a great track, and obviously you had delivered the content from that 250C practice. Pretty wild, mate. The lads were fast and loose with the netting, the track marshals with each other, and yeah, it was pretty gnarly scenes there. That little post you put up, mate. So you were straight off the greens from the golf game to that. So it was
Yeah.
a good Sunday, mate. How was the golf too?
Oh, mate. Well, I can't wait to brag about this one. We played absolutely lights out on Sunday. Absolutely lights out. Went in the local comp as we do every Sunday, and just absolutely was launching piss missiles everywhere. And just played a consistent round. Ended up winning the local comp. Shot an 84, personal best. No big deal. But but yeah, no, we come away with the win. So I'm just hanging back now, just seeing if I'm going to get that invitation to the PGA Tour.
Throw in the job.
Yeah, yeah. I was ready to go into the old boy on Monday and hand him the tool belt and say, "Hey, look, your boy's making another run, and it's not at motocross. He's going to the PGA."
Oh, mate, that's go. You're on a tear last week because obviously you did the podcast with Steve from Pulp MX too, which was awesome. I encourage anyone to listen to that. Plenty of banter and laughs in there, mate. So it was a good tear you're on last week, wasn't
Yeah, yeah, no, we big media guy now. Yeah,
it?
so yeah, yeah, we're out there. Just I'm pretty sought after. I would like to say, or what I would like to think anyway. Yeah, we've been getting a few calls, and it's like, look, boys, the schedule is just jam packed out. Well, not really. The schedule's not jam packed. I just say that, but really, I'm just in the man cave, just absolutely swinging the golf club, trying to get their swing sorted out. So yeah, no, but no, that was good. It was an awesome chat with Steve. Yeah, like I've done it. done two with him now. Like they've just both been really good. He's an awesome dude, and it's good. It's real laid back and like just shooting the shit really. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Good value, mate. Yeah, the moto fans love it for sure. And I reckon, you got Hemsworth Sun racing in Toowoomba on the weekend. You got the Gold
Yeah.
Coast World Supercross, the AusX Supercross probably in Queensland, mate. So I reckon there's an ambassadorial role coming your way with the big man Hemsworth. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe there's a Thor spin-off series there with Richo and the with Richo and the mix, but no, that was that was really cool to see because I actually like I had seen like that on his socials and that they do some riding, but I didn't know that they raced or anything like that. And then yeah, seeing him at the race on the weekend, I was like, holy smokes, like this is like cool. Having Chris Hemsworth in the moto scene, I'm sure the moto dads would just be absolutely hating it at this point. Just seeing Thor on the start line, just with the pipes hanging out, just warming up the big KTM on the start gate. Like, if that's not intimidation, I don't know what is.
Yeah, just give him a free run off the line. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like, I don't know what the moto mums would be doing. It'd be tough. Are they going to be rooting for their kid or are they going to be rooting for Thor's kid to get a W? And then
Oh,
maybe
mate,
he'll
look
rip
out.
the shirt off in celebration. Who knows?
Yeah, mate, there's some marketing to be had there for sure, isn't there?
Oh, big time. Yeah, there's got to be a collaboration here at some point.
Yeah, mate, I reckon it'll be good. We'll watch it play out, see what the young bloke does with his moto career. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few sponsors, gear companies, namely Thor, will be picking up the phone just to see what they can work out, can't they?
Oh, but he might be the most sought after Australian junior rider that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
He's
mate, well said.
going
Yeah,
to
I
be
wonder if we
sought
get him out
after.
there.
To sign him to the contract, one stipulation is that the guy gets a scene in the next Thor movie. Maybe that's one of the only stipulations in it.
Yeah, mate, surely, yeah, someone could use that. Use him as a good sort of tool to grow the sport in Australia for sure. Because we're always talking about how to sort of break through to the mainstream in motocross, supercross. That and
Absolutely.
someone that big, that'd be a pretty good avenue to go down, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, it's awesome to see you know celebrities like him, especially of his caliber, coming and just being at the races with his kid. Like
Yep.
just normal dude. Like, hey, he breathes the same air that we do, and yeah, he's just out there like every other moto dad, just helping his kid out. I'm sure he's probably experienced at this point how much of a pain in the ass it is to change a tire on an 85 rim. Pinching a few, he's probably thrown the spanner. I would hate to be a spanner getting thrown by him. That thing would just be lethal.
Oh yeah, mate. It's interesting. I'm certainly bringing the mass appeal to moto, which is always cool. And yeah, maybe you'll turn up at the national there or whatever, just as a spectator. But yeah, hopefully get him on board and see more of it, mate. It's pretty cool. And obviously back to the racing, mate. We sort of diverted off course to the golf game and
Yeah,
various other things there, mate. Went down the rabbit hole, but it's all good value. But yeah, it was epic racing, wasn't it, mate? The Webb and Sexton battle. Obviously, Chase just fell short. Webb came up clutch, Would have been interesting to see if Chase got the whole shot and he led because it was fine margins on that track because his whoop speed was excellent, but just trying to get that move done was hard when they're so consistent and there's nothing between them, mate. But yeah, awesome racing, and that's a really good advertisement for the series too, even though it looks like Webb, get a couple of thirds and he's got the job done. But yeah, it's going to be a good last couple of rounds, and Webb came up big when he needed to, didn't he?
oh man, big time. I mean, just the mental strength on Cooper Webb is like far out. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, this is a guy that Chase Sexton blows his doors off one week ago, like just absolutely waxes him, puts 16 seconds on him, and to seems like any other person that happens to, they don't recover from that, and and it is, and similar sort of track too, like with the way the dirt was and all that. I thought this track, I thought of this track. If anything, I'm like, well, Sexton has got to win this one here. Big set of whoops. Like Coop ain't gonna even attempt to skip these ones. the way the track was, I thought, you know what, Chase should have him in this one. And then like it's tough to find 16 seconds in 1 week. Like I don't know what they did, if they made changes or if he just went back, hit the reset button, like, all right, now this thing is on now. Like I've got to respond here. But yeah, he just rode a flawless race. Sexton rode his ass off, made mistake, like caught him, made a mistake, dropped 3 seconds, caught him again, just couldn't find his way around him, and Coop just weathered the storm and yeah, finished the win. And I won't say it's over just yet, but like I mean that could very well be the dagger in this thing at this point, because yeah, like that's going to be tough to come back from, because yeah, he can finish third in both these races if Chase wins, and there's no one really in the main events that can really challenge him to like beat him straight up really at the moment. He's just too consistent, just too gritty more than anything. I mean, man, the dude's just got ice in his veins, and yeah, very impressive response on the weekend. So yeah, just all around, just stellar performance.
Yeah, well said, mate. Good insights there for sure. And yeah, just the way he handled the pressure for the entire race was just so impressive. Just an absolute animal. And yeah, it's hard to see him losing it from now, like you said. And, it looked like Chase worked so hard to close in that deficit, and he's just extended it in emphatic fashion, hasn't he, mate? But he knew he needed that whole shot. He got it, and then he just negotiated everything from the track to the lappers
Yeah.
to all the obstacles so well. And like you said, it was a mental and riding clinic. So I guess he can just control and navigate these last two with a bit more composure and sort of calmness. But as we were saying last week, mate, obviously Pittsburgh was crucial because Chase is pretty dialed in Denver and Salt Lake. So he rose up to the occasion for sure, didn't he, mate?
Oh man, just completely like just showed up. Like yeah, it was unreal. Like just gets the whole shot when he needed it, gets the track position at the most important time, and like you said, just navigated his way through everything. Just rode like a super smart race, took his time with lappers, and like the lappers were an issue. Like there was they came up on him in bunches and like didn't try to rush anything. Obviously, he did the typical rev the piss out of the bike at him, which he's known to do anyway. That's not out of the norm. So, but yeah, he just navigated his way through. Didn't look like he was phased whatsoever, even though I'm sure he knew that Sexton was close. He just kept his head down and yeah, just zero mistakes, and yeah, just came away with the win at the most important time.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And you could see Chase afterward. He looked pretty shattered, sort of physically and probably mentally exhausted as well. But
Mm.
he just had those little mistakes. He had so much good speed, the whoops at the start, and then he obviously that was pretty draining physically. So he went to jumping, and that's so hard to do, isn't it, mate? For skimmers and likewise for jumpers, changing to skimming. You see with Justin Cooper, he's so dialed with that jumping, and then when you got to go to skimming, it's just not as easy. It's easier said than done to make that switch. So you could see Chase, he made the mistake when he went to the jumping, and it's such a defined skill set, each one, aren't they? You can't just, there's not many, or Cooper Webb's pretty good at it, but it's really hard to sort of go between the two within a race when they're changing all the time and they're that beat up, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's it. And we spoke about it on the last podcast, I'm pretty sure, is that guys are now practicing jumping through the whoops. And it's like, yeah, and it's almost like a boxer going into a fight where it's like you game plan a certain way, and then it's hard to, like, you come in there and you've got one plan on throwing like this punch, but then like the way things shake out, it's like you got to throw a different one, and it's hard, especially like once you're in amongst it, it's hard to get away from that plan. And it's like for Chase, like obviously he was making up tons of ground when he was skipping them, and it also probably goes into bike setup too. Like I'm sure Webb and like Cooper probably don't have their bikes set up. Like I mean, those bikes are probably firm enough where they can skip through a set of whoops, but like if you got to jump through them, like you'll want the bike to be a little bit softer because then like once you go through it, like the speed obviously slows down rather than skimming them. And then especially in those whoops where they got super chopped out, like where the bike deflects when it's a firm setup, it like really deflects off the bumps and all that, which is what happened to Chase. Like he wasn't even going fast. He just jumped in, caught a bump wrong, and it just threw him off the track. And then yeah, it's like that gets you. And then like when something like that happens, it gets you out of your rhythm. And then especially for Chase, who's known for like he'll be like the last guy in the main event to keep skipping a set of whoops. And then once you defer away from that, yeah, it changes your mindset and the way you attack things a little bit. And yeah, it can really throw you off. And yeah, like he got it dialed in towards the end, obviously, like because we seen he like went off the track, he was able to reel Coop back in, make another run at him. But yeah, just a couple of mistakes at the end. Coop was able to stretch it out, and yeah, like as you could tell, he was looking very deflated after the race was done. So yeah, like you can't help but think like that could be the balloon popping in this one. So yeah, it's a tough one, and like you got to feel for him, but like at the same time, you got to just give all the respect to Coop because like he responded when people thought that Chase was probably going to go on a run, especially after dominating last weekend, and like Coop just came back and answered the bell.
Yeah, well said. He put that flex on, mate, and you saw the gesture afterwards. He loves those games. He switched it up a bit. But like he
Exactly.
even said recently, like adapting your lines on the fly is not that easy in a supercross race when you're sort of in the groove and you're thinking what's working, but trying to do that mid-race, which is what someone like Jet Lawrence does so well. So even that's not that easy. So to adjust from skimming to jumping is really difficult too, mate. So just your take on that as well.
Yeah, no, and actually, yeah, like I'm glad you brought that up because that takes me to that. That was one thing I struggled with my entire career was once like the race would get going and like you would be taking good lines at the start, and like eventually, like over a long race, that line becomes not the fastest. The good smart riders, like I'll give an example because I would stick to the same line every lap. And like it was always tough for me to get out of that mindset and like go to a different spot. Whereas like my cousin Mitch Evans, who I raced with and was teammates with for a year, he was unreal at doing that. He would go spots on the track and it was like he would use the first part of the race as practice. He would go out and like hit every line, even if he lost time because he knew at the end of the race he was going to find the good line and he was going to catch up and like make the move at the end of the race. Like the good smart guys, and like we see Jet do it all the time, where like he does these lines and he goes, "Jesus, I wouldn't have thought of that. I definitely wouldn't have thought of that if I was out on track for sure. When like everything's going, you're getting fatigued and all that stuff. So yeah, like Coop just adapted to the track really good, changed the lines up when he really needed to, and like that's so beneficial, especially on a track like that in a long race where it's a completely different track from the start of the race. So yeah, adapting to it was very crucial.
Yeah, well said, mate. That's really awesome insight. And obviously, yeah, Mitch Evans, great to see him back out there after all those injury troubles, in the past few years. So, yeah, it's good to see him working back to hopefully MXGP pretty soon. Obviously, he's racing some rounds, doing some wild cards, whatever, but hopefully we see him back on the circuit full time maybe next year as he obviously races the ADAC German Championship, which is awesome to have him on the gate for sure, mate. So, obviously, you'd be keen to see him out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good to see him back in the mix and having a go at it. Yeah, he seems to be like enjoying it at the moment, which is good. But yeah, no, it's just good to see him back out there having a dig, doing a couple of races here and there. So yeah, no, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, keeping it fun, mate. At this point, it's always good, just ease back into it, mate. But obviously, back to the Supercross. Give us your take on Justin Cooper. Absolutely dialed in that heat race. He was just on rails, just clearing out, winning impressively. And he was actually like elite in the maiden event. Those other two guys cleared off, but he actually had the fastest lap out of anyone, which is pretty impressive. So the speed's there for sure. And that's just giving him another confidence boost in what's been a really excellent season. But, like a great jumper of the whoops, the 2, 3, 4 line he had was really impressive. And you get the feeling he's got pretty much everything in the locker except skimming the whoops. He's fast as anything on the corners. He's got every section dialed. He's really precise, measured, calculated. Just that he can commit to the skimming of the whoops section. You could really see the sky being the limit and him challenging for the titles, couldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, like obviously that he's got to work on because it seems like he's figured everything else out. And yeah, he's just got to get those whoops dialed in. And like he didn't get the greatest start on the weekend. And it was pretty crazy because I was watching the start of that race and he was back a bit and I kind of like wrote him off a little bit. I was like, he might get in the he'll probably top five with the way this thing's going. And then before I knew it, he'd passed Plessinger. He passed a lot of dudes to get into the third spot and like quickly too. Like he made his way around him, and I was like, "Holy smokes, what is going on here?" And then yeah, he set the fastest lap of the race, so like he's gaining some serious confidence, and like he can't help but think if he had a better start, he probably could have made a bit of a run at the top guys while they were battling. Yeah, so yeah, just a massive improvement for him from the start of the season. Yeah, he's getting a lot more comfortable. And yeah, like we'll see if he gets those whoops figured out. And like he doesn't necessarily like he just has to really be and like that's the thing. If you know you struggle through the whoops, you're gonna lose sometime. So let's make everything else really, really good, and then we'll just be competent through the whoops, so we don't lose an absurd amount of time. Yeah, and like that track lent itself to jumping through the whoops. Like it worked out good for that in the end. But yeah, so yeah, if he gets those figured out, yeah, he could be a problem for the top guys.
Yeah, it's really cool. You get the feeling he's kind of like that Hunter Lawrence sort of builds slowly into like the 450 or the 250 whenever he gets cracking. But when he gets there, he's certainly there and he's on it. And it's really good. He's a great sort of second rider on that team with Webb. They get along so well. They get along in training and he makes all the rounds and he's just consistent and just keeps showing up every week. And he's building the fitness and the momentum and everything with the bike. So it's so beneficial to have that as well because, so many guys have been out injured this year, just losing all that, everything from fitness base to bike setup. So he's great to have out there, and he might be one of those guys that can mix it with obviously Webb and Sexton. But another couple, AP and Roxon had good speed at various parts, and you'd imagine that they wouldn't get in the way. I suppose Roxon had that beef with Webb, and he's really good mates with Sexton, so maybe you could throw a spanner in the works. But I think that's probably not going to happen. And also AP's good mates with Webb and his teammates with Sexton, so it's unlikely, isn't it? But might make for some
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah, no, definitely. Oh, who knows? I won't rule anything out at this point. Like we've seen some crazy stuff happen over the years. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I mean, who knows? Could have an issue here and there. Like, I mean, we've seen guys go down. I mean, we go back to like 2023 when we thought Tomac had this thing locked up, and then his Achilles let go, and then obviously we hope like nothing like that happens. You want to see two guys like fight it out and win a championship in the best fairest way possible. So yeah, nah, I'm not counting anything out. I've seen some wild stuff happen in championships over the years, so I won't rule anything out.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be a crack in the last couple of rounds. And obviously, those 250 classes are going to be pretty electric too. Obviously, Vial, massive statement win, silenced the doubters pretty emphatically there. And I guess he hung in there, rode a smart race, seized his chance, made the move. Thrasher had a really good race too. He was skimming the whoops, really good doing that. And obviously, Vial's taken the chance when Hampshire's had an issue. Hammock had got a terrible start and was having a pretty rocky first couple of laps there, almost sort of tangling up with Hardy Munoz. That could have been a real disaster. But yeah, so he's capitalised, made that heap of points up, and that finale is going to be epic. And then, yeah, who knows what happens in a showdown for the last one? It's certainly all to play for, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. And fire, I tell you what a response from Vial as well. I mean, we talk about Cooper Webb responding, but Tom Vial had just as big, if not even more of a response after like having a super consistent season, having not won a race yet, and then obviously having a bad couple of rounds, like got 22nd at the Foxborough round in the mud, struggled with that. And then to top it off in practice, he has a gnarly get off over that first rhythm section, shorts the triple that we were talking about, where it's like the big backward ski jump, has a gnarly get off, gets out of it like as best you can, landed it off to the side onto the tough block and was able to roll out of it. Still was a big hit though. And then, yeah, was able to get a good start, just stay on the back of Thrasher and caught him and made the pass when he needed to. And then obviously capitalizing as well on RJ and Seth Hammaker, like having their troubles in the main events. And like now this has just turned into one hell of a finale for the East Coast boys. Because now it's just, yeah, it's like how many points is between the three of them? I think is VL ended up with the points lead after all
Yeah,
that.
he's one up and then RJ's three back.
Yeah. So like so tight. Like oh, and then it's going to be in an East-West showdown. Like this is what this is like as fans. This is the type of situation we live for right here. Something like this. Three guys in it, separated by 3 points. Like this is absurd. And like this is like taking me back to like that 2017 250 East title run when Osborne ended up coming out on top. This is like got that sort of vibe about it. Like this is going to be electric.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire, mate. It's going to be excellent. And yeah, you've touched on it all pretty well there. But obviously, want to get your thoughts on Volan's epic first podium. Really impressive effort after all he's been through. Obviously, we've spoken about that bike setup, the injury. Obviously, really cool for Club MX too. Obviously, Shock's got on a podium, had a heat race win. Lots said about the handbrake. It must be such a difficult process to get used to that and to race it that elite speed and just sort of have everything, you're having to retrain yourself in the coordination and all the different muscles that takes. And yeah, massive effort. And you can tell, he's had that enormous potential for years. It's been evident, all through his amateur days. So he's got all the bike skills, talent, technique, but yeah, really cool re-emergence for him. And 2025 season's been a real highlight for him and Club MX too, hasn't it?
Oh, big time. I mean, what a season for those boys. And like just a well-deserved podium for Max Voland after coming out and like having that injury last year. He hadn't had too much success with Supercross. He struggled the first couple of years, and then he has that injury last year, and then it's now it's like it's damaged his leg to where now he's got to use the rear brake on the hand. They like worked this thing out. They had troubles with it. I think they had troubles with it overheating the first couple of rounds. They had issues. I think it led to him having a DNF or maybe two. And like, yeah, just think about how crazy that is. Like using the rear brake on the foot your whole life, and then in one off season, you've got to learn how to go just as fast, but doing this complete like that would just absolutely rattle my brain. Like thinking about that, and like yeah, just like to come back, put together a like good consistent main event, get on the podium, his first Supercross podium as well. And like, yeah, just awesome job from him, the Club MX crew. They've had a couple of podiums this year, some heat race wins. They're turning into a real powerhouse of a team. And like I like what they're doing there. Like and like they're taking like some good riders on, like riders that like, have kind of been cast aside a little bit over the years. And like now they're just like they're getting podiums. And like, yeah, it's really cool to see. So hats off to those boys.
Yeah, and they won the futures on the weekend, so it's all coming up club at the moment for sure. All that hard
Mm.
work in that program, getting Daniel Blair on recently, so it's all trending in a great direction for him, mate. And obviously, we're back to the West this weekend. Deegan's got a pretty healthy gap. If all goes to plan, he could even really win it if Cole Davies and some of those guys have off nights. But yeah, Deegan's just got to get through it, doesn't he, mate? He's got the SMX title, he's got the motocross title, just got to tick off that 251. You'd imagine that. Cole Davies would probably win if Deegan doesn't need to win, but if he's up there, But it's going to be interesting. Some of those guys have had some healing time. Smith, Shimoda, Marchbanks, Juju, they've all been having injuries they've been coming back from. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race for sure, mate. All eyes will be on it, but it's probably mainly the finale is going to be the one in that 250 class showdown, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and like Deegan's in the driver's seat at the moment, got a very healthy points lead, which is good to have at this stage of the season. And then just has to like doesn't necessarily have to win the Denver round, but you don't want to give up you definitely don't want to give up too many points, especially with the way Cole Davies is riding at the moment. More going into this East-West showdown because man, those races, you just never know what could happen in those showdown races when you got the best guys from each coast in the mix. Like it'd be, just anything can happen at those ones. So yeah, you want to put yourself in a good spot because you just never know what could happen. And then when you got your teammate who's just been winning, he won like 2 races back to back, and then he's got all the momentum in the world, and he's super confident, and he's riding out of his skin. It'll be tough. And then for other guys, it's a bit of a shame with the way that things panned out for Beaumare and Shimoda. Shimoda especially, after winning A1, had all the momentum, and then getting clipped by the pit board at the second round, and then having just to play catch up the whole time, just trying to manage that injury, which he's just done a phenomenal job to even keep going with this injury. To be riding with broken fingers, it's just absolutely brutal. I don't know how he's been able to do it. And then Juju's been banged up as well, hurt the shoulder at Arlington, and then he's sort of fallen off a little bit. So it kind of fizzled out when it was really shaping up to be a 4 rider race, and then Smith going out with an injury as well. So it was really shaping up to be an epic finish for this series. But right now, Danger Boy's got this thing. He's almost got one hand on the trophy, but hey, anything can happen in this sport. And especially with these 250 guys, I don't know what they're capable of. So it could be a wild finish yet. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it's always good to see how it pans out. Obviously, Cole Davies, you spoke really well about him with Steve on pulp, and Deegan's got a mistake in him, so definitely don't sort of count it off just yet. But another awesome chat, mate. Any final thoughts as we wrap this one up? Obviously, the week ahead, bit of work on the tools, no doubt, and obviously golf and Supercross on Sunday, looking to flex on both arenas, no doubt, mate.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have. We've been definitely grinding. As soon as the workday is done, I'm just home straight in the lab, just doing swing after swing. Even had a bit of coaching on it the other week. My coach Luke got me dialed in a fair bit. So we are we're going all in on this thing. We just are going absolutely balls deep into the golfing world, and and we got a long weekend this weekend. So the plan is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll just be, Monday we got the public holiday, but Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I am going to be at the links just tearing into it.
Oh, mate, look forward to it, no doubt. It's going to be awesome for you, and obviously a career change is on the cards coming up, no doubt. But thanks again for joining us on this one, mate. It's been another ripper chat. Massive shout out to Fly Racing, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkerland for all their support. Huge shout out to the listeners for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And obviously, we'll chat again next week. Jats, all the best and have a good one, mate. It's been another cracker podcast.
Hell yeah, mate. Absolutely. Sounds good.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.